what are the building blocks of branding yourself? Well, the cornerstone of it all is what we've been talking about. People buy people. They buy from people. They don't buy from corporations. Now, there's still a few products we go out and we'll buy from a corporation. But you know what? I want an iPad because I know Steve Jobs. And I've actually met him and shook his hand and all. I know him. I know how passionate he is. I know how detail-oriented he is. I know how excited he gets about his products. I want to own his products and use them. For me, there's a personal bonding there. It's not Apple computer that I'm in love with. It's really all about Steve Jobs and his passion. What happens when Steve steps down? Well, it turns out I have good relationships with a couple other folks there that I know will carry on his passion, his attention to detail, and his excitement over products. So I'll continue buying the brand because of the people. People buy people. So now let's talk about the 3 building blocks that we need to work on individually. First is define yourself. Second, create a signature look. And third, become well known for one thing. Okay? So let's go talk about those 3 topics. Define yourself. That's the first one. Well, I looked up Dano Ybarra in the dictionary. It wasn't there. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to define myself. I have to look in the mirror. I have to look around and say, how do I define? Who am I? What do I stand for? Where are my passions? You need to create your who, do what, and why statements. And I think we've talked about these in these sessions before. Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it? These are critical. And that's the starting point of defining yourself and branding yourself, is figuring it out. You are an expert. Every person in this room is an expert at least one thing. You have a way of doing things. You have a style. You're laid back, you're intense, you're driven, you're highly organized, you're really flexible. Each one of us has our own style. And that's important to figure that out. Who are we? And you have a reason you do things. Your why. Why do you do things? The things that you do. This is not a time to play it safe. Do not play it safe. Dig deep. Figure out who you are and what you really stand for. Don't worry about what everyone else thinks or you want them to think. Figure out who you really are. So, who you are and how you can stand out. This is the key. So, I'm going to put a couple questions up here to help us kind of spur some thinking about who we are and what we stand for, what we do, and our why. The first thing you might ask is when someone comes up to you and say, hey, can I pick your brain for a minute? What are they going to ask you? I know what people ask me. I get a lot of people, a lot of phone calls. Hey, Dano, can I pick your brain for a minute? Sure. What is it about? Well, let's get together because I have this idea for a new product. Okay, I get a lot of those phone calls. So that tells me something. Now I'm starting to figure out, well, wow, other people think I'm good at this. That's a good thing. Maybe I'm almost an expert, okay? I don't think there's an expert at starting companies, but that's one of the things they call me. They call me about other things too. And think about yourself. What do people call and say, hey, can I pick your brain for a minute? I just want to get some advice or I want to get some direction. Another thing is have you ever been asked to teach a hobby or a skill? Some of us in here have been asked to teach others how to do Twitter. And maybe that's a hobby or a skill, and maybe that turns into something. But these are just some questions to help you stimulate who are you and what direction you want to take your brand. What difficult experiences have I had that I've overcome that I can share with other people to help them? I grew up poor and had to get into the mainstream and figure out how to start a business. Maybe I had some health issue that I had to overcome in order to be successful that I can share with others. These are all questions we can ask to help us define this. What do I constantly get compliments on that I downplay? Okay, I was trying to think of a great example of this. The only thing I could come up with is in 8th grade, my football coach used to grab me in the hallway at school and tell me that I had these gorgeous, big, brown eyes, and that all the women would just swoon over me. Well, that's not a skill I can apply here, but I would downplay that and say, no, I'm just like everyone else. But the truth is, none of us are like everyone else. We're all unique. We all have our unique piece. What quirky things do I do? Okay? Every one of us has quirky things we do. And think about those. Can those make us unique and help brand us in what we are?